Earth floated quietly in its orbit, unaware that the eyes of the galaxy were upon it. From the vast reaches of space, the Galactic Council had been watching, judging, and planning. Humans were considered small, weak, and unimportant. Yet, there was something different about them. Something the Council could not yet understand. They were unpredictable. On Earth, life went on as usual. Cities buzzed with activity, and fleets of humans prepared for missions beyond the stars, though most were for peaceful exploration. Among the people, Daehyun worked in the Space Command Center, monitoring communications with distant satellites. Hyejin, a scientist, was studying patterns in cosmic signals, trying to detect anything unusual. Juneseo, a young commander, was training his fleet for emergencies. And Min-suk, a technician, was checking warship systems for readiness. None of them knew that the galaxy had already marked Earth as the next target. It began with a signal. A strange pattern appeared in the data streams, something that did not belong to Earth's technology. Hyejin was the first to notice it. The signal was unintelligible yet urgent. She alerted Daehyun and the others. They gathered in the control room, watching the screens fill with lines of alien code. The message was short, but its effect was clear. It had shaken the galaxy. The Galactic Council saw the message differently. To them, it was not just a signal. It was a challenge, a provocation. The humans had sent something that, in the eyes of alien civilizations, suggested daring and defiance. Panic spread quickly among the Council fleets. Decisions were made rapidly. Orders went out to prepare for an attack on Earth, the so-called weak planet that dared to communicate in the dark of space. On Earth, no one yet understood the danger. Daehyun looked at the communication logs and noticed the spike in unknown transmissions. Hyejin tried to decode the alien signal, but it was encrypted in ways no human had seen before. Juneseo called for readiness drills, sensing that something was amiss. Min-suk checked the engines and weapons of their few warships, making sure everything was operational. They were calm, disciplined, and unaware of the storm approaching from the stars. The first scouts arrived silently. From beyond Earth's orbit, small ships appeared like shadows against the sun. The Galactic Council had sent observers to see how humans would react. Juneseo noticed them first through radar, small shapes moving in formation. They were fast, advanced, and clearly hostile. Daehyun ordered communications attempts, but there was no response. The scouts did not signal or identify themselves. Their intentions were clear, they were preparing. Humans were not defenseless. Earth's fleets were small but clever. Daehyun and Juneseo coordinated maneuvers that humans had practiced for emergencies, moving ships in patterns meant to confuse and outsmart any attackers. Hyejin suggested using the planet's magnetic fields to hide from enemy sensors, a tactic that worked better than expected. Min-suk and his team prepared warships for quick launches, checking every system twice. The Council fleets saw these preparations and were surprised. Humans were not acting like prey. They were cautious, yes, but also clever. The first skirmish was small, a probe ship attempting to test human defenses. Juneseo ordered a calculated countermeasure, using the probe's momentum against it, sending it spinning harmlessly away. The Council recorded the unexpected success, noting that humans were more than simple animals. Meanwhile, the message that had triggered all this remained undecoded. Hyejin worked tirelessly, trying to understand its meaning. She believed it was an invitation to communicate, a way for humans to reach out to the galaxy. Little did she know, the Council had already read it as a declaration, a threat to their authority. They interpreted human curiosity as audacity, and that misunderstanding would soon lead to war. Across Earth, people went about their daily lives, oblivious to the coming danger. Schools, offices, and streets were busy, but in secret command centers, a few humans prepared. Daehyun called for a full readiness alert. Training exercises turned real as scouts approached. Hyejin continued her analysis, trying to find a peaceful solution before shots were fired. Juneseo led his small fleet in formation, teaching them to move quickly, think fast, and act decisively. Min-suk checked weapon systems, making sure missiles, lasers, and shields would function under real combat conditions. The first encounter in orbit was brief but significant. Humans launched a warning signal, a simple beacon of intent. The Council scouts misread it, thinking Earth was initiating an attack. They fired first. Explosions lit the blackness of space. Humans responded immediately, using tactics that the Council could not predict. The skirmish ended with the scouts retreating, damaged and confused. Humans had won the first clash without losing a single ship. The Galactic Council was now in chaos. Their fleets were spread thin, unprepared for the resilience of humans. Messages flew between ships, trying to understand what Earth was capable of. Daehyun, Hyejin, Juneseo, and Minsuk did not yet realize the full impact of their actions. To them, it was a small defense, a demonstration of preparedness. To the galaxy, it was a sign that humans were a threat to be reckoned with. Back on Earth, discussions began about the meaning of the alien message. Hyejin believed it was a first contact attempt, a chance to show humans as intelligent and cooperative. Daehyun was wary, focusing on defense. Juneseo prepared for potential attacks, while Minsuk optimized warships for combat readiness. The team worked together, blending science, strategy, and courage. The night sky over Earth was quiet, but the tension was palpable. Scouts continued to watch, preparing reports for the Council. Humans, unaware of the full scale of observation, continued their routine with alertness. The first part of the story ended with a calm that hid the brewing storm, with humans standing ready, not just to survive, but to fight if necessary. The galaxy had underestimated them, and that mistake would soon echo across the stars. The sky over Earth remained quiet, but in orbit the tension was rising. Juneseo watched the approaching alien ships through the viewport of the command center. They moved with speed and precision, scanning the planet as if calculating every move. Daehyun stood beside him, analyzing data streams. The Galactic Council had sent more scouts, and it was clear that Earth was now under direct observation for possible attack. Hyejin, seated at a console filled with alien symbols, tried to decode the messages from the Council fleets. Each line of code seemed more complex than the last. It was clear that their technology far surpassed human understanding. Yet humans had something the aliens did not fully comprehend: creativity and adaptability. Hyejin shared her findings with Daehyun, suggesting ways to hide their warships using Earth's natural magnetic fields and atmospheric disturbances. Minsuk moved swiftly through the hangar, checking every warship, ensuring engines were operational and weapons were calibrated. The humans had few ships compared to the Council, but each was optimized for speed, maneuverability, and precision. He knew that in this battle, quick thinking and clever tactics would matter more than size or raw firepower. The first contact was unavoidable. A small fleet of Council warships dropped out of hyperspace, appearing in low orbit around the planet. Juneseo's fleet, though small, took positions near the orbital defense stations. Humans had learned from simulations and exercises, and now those drills were about to be tested in reality. The alien fleet fired warning shots, arcs of energy slicing through space near human ships. It was a test, a way to see how humans would react. Juneseo ordered the fleet to move in a triangular formation, a tactic designed to confuse and divide the enemy. Daehyun coordinated communications, tracking every movement of the alien ships, sending real-time data to the fleet. Hyejin suggested an unexpected move. Using Earth's magnetic field as a shield, they could hide part of their fleet from alien sensors. Juneseo approved. Minsuk maneuvered the warships into position. The Council scouts, expecting a standard response, were caught off guard. Their sensors could not detect the hidden ships, and the humans prepared for a counterattack. The first strike was brief but intense. A scout ship fired directly at a human frigate. Juneseo's fleet responded instantly, dodging the attack and using the momentum of the enemy's ship to redirect it away from Earth. The maneuver worked perfectly. The alien ship spun out of control, disabled but not destroyed. Daehyun observed the Council's communications, noticing panic as the aliens reported unexpected losses. Word of the skirmish reached the surface. Citizens looked up at the sky, seeing flashes and streaks, unsure of what they were witnessing. Governments activated emergency protocols, and military command centers ran simulations in parallel with real-time responses. Despite the chaos, humans maintained calm and discipline. Every decision was made with calculation, courage, and care. The Council, shocked by the unexpected resistance, sent reinforcements. Larger warships appeared in orbit, their energy weapons glowing ominously. Humans had to act fast. Junesio ordered a tactical retreat toward Earth's magnetic shield, using it to mask their fleet movements. Daehyun coordinated sensor sweeps to predict enemy trajectories. Hygiene continued to decipher alien signals, trying to anticipate the Council's strategies. Min-suk prepared the warships for sudden engagement. Lasers charged, missiles primed, and shields reinforced. Each ship was ready to respond to any threat. The human fleet, though outnumbered, moved with precision and confidence. A Council warship fired a heavy energy blast. Junesio executed a sharp maneuver, drawing the blast away from the fleet and toward the atmosphere where it harmlessly dissipated. Humans counterattacked with smaller, faster ships, targeting enemy engines and sensor arrays rather than trying to destroy the ships entirely. They focused on strategy over destruction, surprising the alien forces with their cleverness. Hygiene discovered a pattern in the Council's fleet communication. They were trying to coordinate, but humans had disrupted their signals using small interference drones. The Council ships, now disorganized, were vulnerable. Junesio seized the opportunity, ordering a synchronized strike that damaged several warships while keeping human losses minimal. The battle escalated. Council fleets, previously confident, began to question the strength of the humans. Daehyun noticed that their ships were moving with hesitation, a sign that humans had disrupted their standard tactics. The Council fleets had never faced an enemy that combined courage, ingenuity, and discipline so effectively. Back on Earth, Hygiene and other scientists were working on long-range communication. They knew that the message humans had sent earlier had sparked this confrontation. She realized that the message, though simple, had made the galaxy aware of human presence and determination. Humans were no longer invisible observers. They were participants in galactic affairs. Min-suk oversaw the repair teams working around the clock to maintain readiness. Each warship, though small and lightly armed compared to alien cruisers, became a symbol of human resilience. The crews understood that their ingenuity and teamwork would determine the outcome, not the size of their vessels. The skirmish in orbit concluded with humans holding their positions. The Council fleets retreated temporarily, regrouping for a larger offensive. Junesio's fleet, while damaged, had proven their ability to defend Earth. Daehyun and Hygiene shared a quiet moment of relief, knowing that humanity had survived the first direct attack. However, the danger was far from over. Messages from the Council indicated that they now recognized humans as a serious threat. The galaxy had begun to shift its attention toward Earth. Humans would have to prepare not just for defense but for a war that could spread across the stars. On the ground, news spread of the skirmish. People felt a mixture of fear and pride. Human ingenuity, bravery, and adaptability had shown in the first encounter. Leaders like Daehyun, Junesio, Hygiene, and Min-suk realized that their challenge was only beginning. They were now responsible for protecting all of Earth from a galaxy that had underestimated them. Night fell over the planet, but in orbit, lights of warships glimmered against the dark sky. The first chapter of human resistance had been written, and it was a story of courage, cleverness, and determination. Humans had survived the first attack, but the war was only starting. The Council would return with greater force, and humanity had to be ready. In the hearts of those who defended Earth, a fire burned, a fire of defiance, of hope, and of unwavering strength. The war was no longer just in Earth's orbit. It had spread into deep space. Human fleets, though smaller than the Council's, moved with determination. Junesio commanded his ships with careful precision, every maneuver calculated to maximize advantage. Daehyun monitored enemy movements, predicting their next strike and preparing counters. Hygiene worked tirelessly, deciphering Council communications and Minsuk ensured all systems were operating at full capacity. The Galactic Council was frustrated. Their large warships, powerful and heavily armed, were being outsmarted by humans. They could not anticipate every move. Humans used hit-and-run tactics, ambushes, and clever formations that disrupted the Council's strategies. Every small human victory was a shock to the aliens. In one battle, a Council cruiser approached a human convoy transporting essential supplies. Junesio devised a trap. Small, fast ships hid behind asteroids and used Earth's magnetic anomalies to cloak their position. When the cruiser attacked, humans launched a counterstrike from unexpected angles. Missiles disabled engines, while energy beams targeted communication arrays. The cruiser was forced to retreat, confused and damaged. Hygiene discovered that the Council fleets were attempting to coordinate a larger offensive across multiple sectors. She shared this information with Daehyun and Junesio. They realized that humans had an opportunity to strike decisively at a Council outpost that served as a hub for warship coordination. Planning began immediately. Minsuk and the engineers prepared a fleet of warships for the operation. Engines were optimized for speed, shields reinforced, and weapons calibrated for accuracy. Humans were outnumbered, but preparation and clever tactics gave them confidence. Junesio reminded his crew that intelligence and courage could overcome larger forces. The operation began. Human ships moved through asteroid belts and used gravitational anomalies to mask their approach. The Council outpost was powerful, protected by multiple layers of defense, but humans used precision strikes. They targeted shield generators, energy conduits, and critical engines. Within hours, the outpost was crippled. Humans had achieved a major victory with minimal losses. The Council was shaken. They had underestimated humans at every level. Daehyun analyzed intercepted messages and found panic spreading through Council fleets. Their confidence in easy victory was gone. Hygiene worked to exploit these weaknesses further, sending interference signals to confuse the enemy. Meanwhile, Earth's population became aware of the ongoing war. Governments broadcasted messages encouraging unity and preparation. Civilians helped by monitoring space signals, assisting engineers, and keeping morale high. On the front line, human crews fought not for conquest but for survival, for their home planet, and for the future of their species. In another engagement, a Council squadron attempted to flank human ships near a distant star cluster. Junesio ordered his fleet into a deceptive formation, pretending to retreat. When the Council pursued, humans turned and struck from concealed positions, disabling multiple warships. Daehyun tracked the movements and provided real-time updates, ensuring the operation remained coordinated. Hygiene's calculations proved vital in predicting enemy maneuvers. Minsuk coordinated repair crews mid-battle, keeping ships operational under fire. The Galactic Council faced an unanticipated reality. Humans were not just surviving, they were winning. Each victory inspired more humans to volunteer for fleet duty. Each success demoralized alien crews, making them question their orders. Council commanders could not ignore that a species they thought insignificant had become a major threat. Amidst the battles, humans discovered alien technology that had never been observed before. Hygiene and her team studied it, understanding energy signatures and weapon systems. This knowledge allowed Junesio to plan further attacks, using alien technology against them with clever adjustments. Minsuk adapted human ships with these insights, improving shields and targeting systems. Humans were learning quickly, turning the Council's power into their advantage. The war spread across multiple star systems. Humans executed raids on supply lines, disrupted communications, and captured important outposts. Each action weakened the Council's ability to maintain coordinated attacks. Daehyun coordinated movements across fleets, ensuring that humans acted in unison despite being spread across vast distances. As humans gained victories, Council fleets grew more desperate. They tried to overwhelm humans with sheer numbers, but clever tactics and adaptability allowed humans to evade, counterattack, and inflict significant damage. Hygiene's predictions of enemy behavior often gave humans the first strike advantage. Minsuk ensured the warships remained functional during these extended operations, repairing damage faster than the Council expected. The battles taught humans much about their enemies. They discovered strengths and weaknesses, and each engagement strengthened their resolve. The galaxy began to notice the human fleet. Reports from Council fleets described them as unpredictable, cunning, and fearless. Humans had become a legend across multiple star systems. Back on Earth, leaders celebrated victories but remained cautious. They knew the war was far from over. The Council was powerful, and humans had to remain vigilant. Daehyun, Juneseo, Hygiene, and Minsuk continued to plan, fight, and adapt. They embodied human ingenuity, courage, and resilience. The human fleet returned to a temporary base in a distant star system, damaged but victorious. Repairs began immediately, and new strategies were discussed. Humans had proven they could stand against the Council, but the scale of the conflict was growing. They knew that future battles would be even more challenging. In the quiet moments, Juneseo looked at the stars, thinking about how a single message had started this war. Humans had gone from being observers to key players in galactic conflict. Daehyun reflected on their strategy and discipline, understanding that every decision had consequences. Hygiene thought about the technology and knowledge they had gained, realizing humans could adapt faster than anyone expected. Minsuk focused on readiness, knowing that a single malfunction could cost lives. The third part of humanity's journey had ended with decisive victories, lessons learned, and a growing reputation across the galaxy. Humans had turned the tide of war in their favor, showing that intelligence, courage, and unity could overcome even the most powerful opponents. Yet, the conflict was far from over, and the next battles would test the very limits of human ingenuity and resolve. Humanity had learned much from the early battles. The Galactic Council had underestimated them, and now humans were ready to shift from defense to offense. Juneseo, Daehyun, Hygiene, and Minsuk gathered with their teams to plan a large operation. They had identified a Council warship carrying a powerful weapon, capable of destroying planets. This weapon had to be stopped. Juneseo studied maps of the star system, plotting the fastest and safest routes for the fleet. Daehyun coordinated sensors and communications, ensuring every ship received real-time information. Hygiene examined the Council warship's energy signatures, looking for weaknesses. Minsuk prepared human warships for a long journey, optimizing engines and shields. Every detail mattered. The fleet left Earth's orbit, moving silently into deep space. Humans had become experts at stealth maneuvers, using asteroid fields and magnetic distortions to hide from Council sensors. Scouts led the way, reporting enemy positions and analyzing patrol patterns. The operation required perfect timing and coordination. One mistake could cost hundreds of lives. As they approached the Council warship, humans prepared for combat. The ship was massive, with energy shields and a deadly arsenal. Juneseo ordered the fleet to split into small groups, each with a specific target. Daehyun calculated attack angles, ensuring maximum effect with minimal risk. Hygiene worked out the enemy's likely responses, predicting movements and countermeasures. Minsuk made final adjustments to weapons, readying missiles, lasers, and boarding pods. The attack began. Human ships emerged from hidden positions, striking the warship with precision. Missiles disabled engines while energy beams targeted shield generators. Council soldiers responded, firing back with powerful weapons, but humans moved with agility and teamwork. Juneseo's fleet avoided direct hits, striking and retreating before the enemy could react. The battle was intense, but humans remained focused. Hygiene discovered a weak point in the warship's energy core. She informed Juneseo, who ordered a concentrated strike. A small team of fast ships moved in, dodging heavy fire, and targeted the core. Explosions rocked the enemy vessel, causing chaos aboard. The Council soldiers were unprepared for such a precise attack. Humans had turned knowledge and strategy into their most powerful weapons. During the battle, the fleet captured alien communication hubs. This allowed humans to intercept orders from the Council and spread confusion among their fleets. The galaxy began to notice that humans were not just surviving, they were winning. Daehyun monitored intercepted messages, noting panic and disorder. The council was struggling to respond to the unpredictable human tactics. Meanwhile, humans continued to advance their technology. Hygiene and her team studied captured alien systems, learning new ways to enhance shields, energy weapons, and navigation. Min-suk implemented these improvements on human warships, giving them an advantage against council fleets. Every victory gave humans more experience and confidence. The council tried to regroup, sending reinforcements to counter human advances. However, humans had already learned their strategies. Junaseo directed his fleet in clever maneuvers, attacking supply lines and disabling warships before they could reach Earth. Daehyun coordinated these strikes with precise timing, ensuring the council could not recover quickly. Hygiene continued to predict enemy moves, and Min-suk kept every ship ready for battle. Humans began sending messages across the galaxy, demonstrating their presence and willingness to fight. Other alien species observed these actions, curious and cautious. Some began to question the council's authority, realizing that humans were brave, intelligent, and capable of defeating powerful fleets. The galaxy's perception of Earth and humanity was changing rapidly. On the ground, Earth's population supported the war effort. Engineers repaired ships, scientists studied captured technology, and civilians contributed wherever possible. Human unity was a key strength, allowing the fleet to operate efficiently and effectively. Everyone understood the stakes. Failure could mean the destruction of Earth. The Council's warships were damaged and scattered, unable to maintain order. Humans continued their offensive, capturing key outposts and disabling critical weapons. Juneseo's fleet moved with precision, using every lesson learned from previous battles. Daehyun analyzed enemy movements, sending updates to ensure coordinated strikes. Hygiene calculated risks and opportunities, guiding strategic decisions. Min-suk maintained the warships under heavy fire, ensuring every system functioned optimally. The humans' bold attacks caused panic among the Council commanders. They had underestimated the ingenuity and courage of Earth's defenders. Reports indicated that humans could adapt to any situation, learn quickly, and strike decisively. The Council realized that Earth was no longer a simple target. It was a force to be reckoned with. Victory was not complete, but the tide of war was changing. Humans had destroyed critical weapons, captured key positions, and spread fear among Council fleets. Juneseo looked at the stars, knowing that their next moves would determine the future of Earth and humanity's place in the galaxy. Daehyun analyzed the patterns of retreating enemy ships, Hygiene prepared new strategies, and Min-suk readied warships for further operations. The offensive had proven humans could take the fight to the enemy, not just defend their planet. Their courage, intelligence, and teamwork had shifted the balance. The Council could no longer ignore them. Earth was rising as a powerful player in the galaxy, and humans were learning that they could fight and win against even the most advanced foes. As the fleet returned to a temporary base in a remote system, they repaired their ships and planned their next offensive. Humans had proven their strength, but the war was far from over. Juneseo, Daehyun, Hygiene, and Min-suk knew that each battle would bring new challenges. Their unity, courage, and ingenuity would be tested again. Humanity was no longer a minor species. They were becoming a dominant force in the galaxy. The next steps would determine the survival of Earth and the future of humans among the stars. The final battle was approaching. The Galactic Council had regrouped, sending their most powerful warships toward Earth. They intended to crush humanity once and for all. Juneseo and his fleet prepared for the conflict, knowing that the survival of Earth depended on their skill, courage, and strategy. Daehyun analyzed the incoming fleets, mapping their routes and vulnerabilities. Hygiene studied the alien technology, preparing tactics to exploit weaknesses. Min-suk made sure every ship was ready for combat, from weapons to engines. Humans had learned from every previous encounter. They had studied the Council strategies, adapted to their tactics, and improved their ships with captured technology. The fleet moved in formation, small but coordinated, relying on speed, agility, and teamwork to counter the Council's superior numbers. Each ship's crew understood that this battle would decide the fate of their planet. The Council warships opened fire first, energy beams cutting through space toward human ships. Jun SEO directed evasive maneuvers, using asteroids and magnetic anomalies as cover. Daehyun coordinated attacks to target engines and weapon systems, disabling some of the Council ships before they could inflict damage. Hygiene predicted enemy movements, allowing humans to strike first, gaining the advantage. Min-suk ensured that ships remained functional even under heavy fire, repairing critical systems quickly. The battle was fierce. Explosions lit the darkness of space, and the soundless chaos was reflected in the tension of human crews. Each ship moved with precision, firing strategically rather than recklessly. The humans focused on disabling rather than destroying, targeting weapons, shields, and communications to weaken the Council's effectiveness. Jun SEO led daring strikes against larger warships, using small, fast ships to hit weak points and retreat before counterattacks could come. Hygiene found a pattern in the Council's formation, noting that their largest ships were vulnerable when coordinating energy beams. She communicated the observation to Jun SEO, who ordered a concentrated attack. Small squadrons struck simultaneously, causing critical damage and forcing enemy ships to scatter. The Council fleets, confused and weakened, began to retreat in disorder. Meanwhile, humans took the fight to distant sectors. Daehyun coordinated attacks on supply lines and outposts, cutting off reinforcements and preventing the Council from regrouping. Min-suk oversaw repair crews, keeping human warships operational even during extended operations. Hygiene worked tirelessly, decoding alien signals to anticipate movements and prevent ambushes. Every human played a role, showing courage, intelligence, and unity. The Council realized that humans were no longer a simple threat, they were a formidable force. Their confidence wavered as human tactics consistently outsmarted them. Reports from their fleets described humans as unpredictable, adaptive, and fearless. The legend of Earth and its defenders spread across the galaxy, earning respect and caution from alien species that had previously dismissed humanity. Jun SEO planned the final strike. A Council command ship, carrying top leaders and critical weapons, had been located in a remote system. Humans would have to act carefully. Using stealth and strategy, they approached undetected. Daehyun monitored sensors, tracking every movement. Hygiene calculated timing for maximum effect, while Min-suk prepared boarding pods and weapon systems. Precision and coordination were essential. The operation began. Human ships emerged from hidden positions, attacking simultaneously from multiple angles. Missiles targeted engines, energy beams disabled shields, and small boarding teams moved in to capture key areas. The Council forces were overwhelmed by the unexpected tactics and coordination. Explosions and alarms filled the command ship, and the leaders were forced to surrender. Humans had achieved a decisive victory. Back on Earth, people celebrated cautiously. News spread of human success across the galaxy. Daehyun, Jun SEO, Hygiene, and Min-suk reflected on the journey from defense to dominance. Humans had survived overwhelming odds, adapted to challenges, and emerged as a respected force. The war was not just about survival. It was about demonstrating that humanity could face any threat with courage, intelligence, and unity. The Council was forced to negotiate. They recognized humans as equals in strategic and military capability. Discussions began about coexistence, trade, and mutual respect. Humans had changed the balance of power in the galaxy, proving that size and technology alone were not enough to guarantee victory. Adaptability, creativity, and determination could overcome the most formidable opponents. Human fleets returned to orbit around Earth, repaired and strengthened, their reputation now known throughout multiple star systems. Civilians continued to support efforts, building new ships, studying alien technology, and preparing for potential future conflicts. The planet had become a hub of knowledge, courage, and resilience. Jun SEO looked at the stars, thinking about how a single human message had triggered this conflict and transformed humanity's place in the galaxy. Daehyun considered the strategies that had turned the tide. Hygiene reflected on the power of intelligence and adaptation, and Minsuk ensured that readiness remained a priority. Together, they had led humans to victory. The war had ended, but the story of humanity in the galaxy was just beginning. Earth had survived, humans had triumphed,